Just ahead on CTV News, another council member joins the race for county executive.
I'm proud to announce to each and every one of you my candidacy for Prince George's County executive.
Plus, educators struggle to find common ground, and police share holiday cheer with kids in the county. Those stories and more coming up next on CTV News.
Good evening. This is CTV News for December 11th. I'm Mariah Gillette.
And I'm Michaela Newton. Thanks so much for joining us. Our top story tonight, the race for the county executive seat is heating up, and one at-large member has a special announcement for the county. CTV's Bryce Parker is in the studio with more.
That's right, Michaela. So earlier today, County Council member Calvin Hawkins, with a host of friends, family, followers, and fraternity members, came together to formally announce his candidacy for county executive. And they want the county to know that the Hawk is coming.
Prince George's County is my home. Yeah. It's where I was raised, where I raised my family, and where I've dedicated my life to public service.
Hawkins' interest began with an emotional moment shared with his daughter, who Hawkins says has anchored him in his hardest moments.
And as a young man, I spent 6 years of my time incarcerated for my youthful indiscretions. It was during that time that my daughter became my anchor, giving me the motivation to create a better future for myself and my family.
Hawkins' story of redemption and rehabilitation has inspired many of his supporters throughout the years, and today they join forces to show the county who they know Hawkins to be.
My father is an amazing man who's come from the bottom of the bottom and risen all the way to the top. And I don't mean the top as in title. What it means to me is how you serve others, how you stand in the gap among men and women, and how you deal with very trying times.
Calvin Hawkins is the county executive we need. He has the experience, he has the passion, and he has the heart to take us to new heights.
Hawkins believes his 30 years of public service, including 6 years on county council, make him the right candidate to succeed now Senator-elect Angela Alsobrooks.
I've seen it from the executive side, I've seen it from the legislative side, as well as the judicial side. I know how to bring those three entities together.
And on day one, Hawkins has 3 focal points to hit the ground running.
How we address the concerns and continue to build on our progress of our public school system, expand our economic development opportunities by streamlining our permit process, and thirdly, just deal with how we're going to address public safety.
The County Council just decided yesterday that the primary for the special election will take place on March 4th and the general election will take place on May 27th. This special election will be mail-in ballot only. In the studio, I'm Bryce Parker. Back to you at the desk.
All right, Bryce, thanks so much. Well, Hawkins also plans to fight to keep the commanders and the FBI headquarters in Prince George's County.
Meantime, former Prince George's County Executive Rashern Baker says there's much work to be done in the county, and that's why he's running for his old seat. Baker, who held the position from 2010 to 2018, made the announcement yesterday in Fort Washington. He'll face at least 3 others in the special primary. Baker says he's the only candidate who can hit the ground running on day one.
Because the problems we face as a county, whether it's crime, whether it's education, whether it's healthcare, those are impacting people's lives today. And those are the things that I can immediately, uniquely qualified to do, immediately deal with that in the county. So that's why I think, voters should elect me as county executive.
Again, the special primary is set for March 4th. And never give up hope. That's how Senator Ben Cardin closed his emotional farewell speech Tuesday after 58 years in public service. The 81-year-old reflected on a career that started at age 23 in the Maryland General Assembly and led to 18 election victories, including 3 terms in the U.S. Senate. Cardin highlighted legislative wins on health care, national security, and Chesapeake Bay restoration, calling it the honor of his life to serve Marylanders. He credited his grandparents, immigrants fleeing persecution, for inspiring his public service. During his speech, Cardin offered this final advice to his colleagues.
There's no institution like this in the world. It's a great honor to be a senator, but it comes with responsibilities to debate and vote on important issues of our times. Over the last 18 years, I've seen firsthand how the Senate works best when we work together.
While much has changed over those 58 years that Senator Cardin has served our state, one thing has remained constant, bedrock, and that is the character of Ben Cardin. You will not find a person of greater decency, a person of greater integrity.
The reason Ben was able to accomplish so much, he took the road less traveled here in Congress oftentimes. He put substance over flash. He dug deeply into issues, got to their roots, and then worked across the aisle.
Cardin's successor, Senator-elect Angela Alsobrooks, will be sworn in on January 3rd.
And a brutal fight at Potomac High School left one 14-year-old student badly bruised and with a broken arm. And we do want to warn our viewers that what you're about to see may be disturbing. Cell phone video shows a student being punched by several students in a school utility room. The fight allegedly started from a verbal altercation earlier in that day that teachers de-escalated. According to reports, the girl's mom says her daughter was found by her cheerleading coach 30 minutes later lying on the floor. Now, in a statement from PGCPS, they said in part, quote, "Fighting is unacceptable and may result in disciplinary action, including suspension and expulsion. We encourage students facing peer conflicts to seek support from their school counselor or mental health clinician." And the girl's parents are demanding justice and are calling on police to arrest the teenage suspects involved.
Well, bond was denied for the Maryland man accused of shooting and killing the United Healthcare CEO. Luigi Mangione appeared in Pennsylvania court Tuesday, where he faces several charges, including possession of an unlicensed firearm. He also faces extradition to New York, where he is charged with murder. Mangione's defense lawyer says he will be pleading not guilty to all charges. Mangione yelled out to reporters when being led to the courtroom about a, quote, insult to the intelligence of the American people. The 26-year-old Ivy League grad came from a prominent Maryland real estate family and graduated as valedictorian from the prestigious Gilman School in Baltimore. And New York police say a weapon found on Mangione matches shell casings found at the crime scene, and his fingerprints match other crime scene evidence.
Well, the police chief for Prince George's Community College faces charges for a DUI-related crash in Virginia over the weekend. The school's chief of police is 55-year-old Derek Myers. Fairfax County Police were called to the intersection of Random Hills Road and Fairfax Hills Way on Friday. Officials say Myers was driving when his car lost control and hit another car. Now, the driver of that vehicle was sent to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Fairfax police say Myers' blood alcohol content level was more than 3 times the legal limit at the time of the crash. Prince George's Community College says, quote, "The college does not comment on personal issues." And Prince George's police are investigating a fatal hit and run in the county this morning. The crash happened in the area of St. Barnabas Road and I-495 around 6 a.m. Officers found a woman in the roadway where she later died. Now, the driver of the vehicle did not remain on the scene, and police are still working to determine the cause of the crash. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Michaela Newton.
And I'm Mariah Jalad. Still to come, are you tired of making multiple stops to get your weekend or party libations? Well, Governor Moore is aiming for an expansion of alcohol sales that may ease that burden.
We have that story and more after the break.
I wish people knew that when you live in a small town like mine, it's much harder to find friends with common interests, especially ones my age. I often feel really alone.
Same here. Seems like every time we finally settle somewhere, I have to pack up and move again. By the time I make a friend, a real friend, I have to say goodbye to them.
I totally get it. I live in a big city, but it can feel just as lonely. It's tough, but it gets easier.
Honestly, I totally get what you're going through. It's nice to know that like you feel the same.
You enjoyed my story. I really enjoyed your story as well.
Welcome back. The landlord of a Riverdale apartment complex is being sued for unsafe living conditions. Reports indicate that the advocacy group CASA filed a lawsuit against the 4 companies linked to the Park Tanglewood apartment building on the 5300 block of Riverdale Road. Now, the lawsuit alleges that the apartment building failed to provide a safe and sanitary place to live for 49 plaintiffs involved in the case. CASA is seeking $75,000 in damages for each of its plaintiffs, which could result in a total of more than $3.7 million in damages.
And child care advocates are looking for an increase in support and funding for pre-K providers in the upcoming legislative session. The Blueprint for Maryland's Future has helped to expand pre-K for 3- and 4-year-olds by providing state funding to public and private schools and subsidies to families. Advocates are asking for sustained funding of the Child Care Scholarship Program, which already has a dedicated $488 million in the governor's 2025 budget. The program has doubled in size in the last 2 years, with enrollment at more than 40,000. And negotiations between PGCPS Superintendent Millard House and the Prince George's County Educators Association were supposed to begin yesterday, but the PGCEA is demanding open negotiation sessions and won't proceed without them. These sessions have been conducted open to the public since 2016, and the last 2 collective bargaining contracts were negotiated that way. Members of the PGCEA and members of the County Council joined forces yesterday, hoping to change the mind of the superintendent.
We believe our community has a right to know, but our proposals are to solve the problems that we see as facing our school system. We want to ensure that the voices of those who are directly impacted by these decisions are valued and heard. So our first priority for negotiations is to secure open bargaining and guarantee a seat at the table for our community.
Honestly, we have to support our teachers. We are losing teachers. In fact, when they talked about 800, what they talk about is how many people are looking and leaving the system because of the pay. And frankly, you can go to other jurisdictions, D.C., Montgomery County, and get paid more than Prince George's. So we have to do something. This is a nothing issue, and we don't understand why the superintendent would not agree to do open bargaining.
Some of the issues PGCEA plans to discuss this session include teacher pay and curriculum changes.
Meanwhile, in an exciting move for Maryland educators, Bowie State University has launched a tuition-free program for 75 teachers to earn their national board certification. Chosen from nearly 500 applicants, these educators will undergo a 3-year process to boost their teaching skills and improve student outcomes. The initiative, led by Bowie State's Center for Research and Mentoring for Black male students and teachers in collaboration with Voorhees University, aligns with Maryland's Blueprint for the Future, ensuring all students have access to highly qualified teachers.
Well, an opioid overdose reversal drug is now more readily available across the University of Maryland. According to reports, the drug naloxone has been placed in 150 automated external defibrillators, or AED, boxes on the campus. Naloxone, also known as Narcan, is an FDA-approved emergency medication that can reverse an overdose with a nasal spray. The university was required by state law to put naloxone in AED boxes.
And some Prince George's County residents are raising concerns over the University System of Maryland Board of Regents' approval last month of a 99-year lease for a research space in Riverdale Park. The lease covers 6.4 acres of state-owned land near the Purple Line station, and locals argue it's an inefficient use of prime real estate that could be better suited for mixed-use development. University officials say that the project is key to building a high-tech hub in the nearby Discovery District, supporting industries like engineering, virtual reality, and biotech.
And 2025 may be the year for General Assembly members to get alcohol in Maryland grocery stores with support from Governor Wes Moore. Maryland is one of 5 states that does not allow the sale of beer, wine, or liquor except in liquor or packaged goods stores. Governor Moore told Maryland Matters, he wants a bill expanding alcohol sales on his desk at the end of the next assembly session, but a bill won't be an official part of his legislative package. Supporters say a bill would put the state in line with nearby Virginia and the district, but opponents say expanded sales would negatively impact communities already seeing a high volume of liquor stores and put independent stores out of business.
Well, 2 years after supermarket giants Kroger and Albertsons propose a mega merger, a federal judge temporarily blocks the move and stops the sale of 10 Harris Teeter stores in Maryland, Virginia, and the District of Columbia. Maryland joined 9 other states and the Federal Trade Commission in a lawsuit filed earlier this year challenging Kroger's bid to purchase Albertsons. A judge said the move would lessen competition. In our region, Kroger operates Harris Teeter and Albertsons owns Safeway. And still to come on CTV News, one of America's most famous insects could be at risk for extinction.
Find out the cause and how you can help after the break.
My name's Stacy, I'm 57, and I was adopted in 2020.
We were adopted in 2019.
And we were adopted in 2021.
We had a house, and it sounds crazy, but it wasn't a home. The one thing that Jake and Emma brought is it became a home.
When I met Dakota, he had just turned 14.
You weren't there for the first this and the first that. I missed the first words, but we got a lot of other firsts.
Watching her say, oh my God, I cannot believe I got my license. And she's like, I passed. And I'm like, girl.
See them grow. It is.
They chose to love us. They didn't have to. They chose us. Family.
You and you. Kids in the middle.
What I thought was a complete life was nowhere near complete, but it is now.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org.
Got one of these hanging on the wall? You're qualified. One of these? You're qualified too. Love a good checklist? Qualified. 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 Yep, qualified. Because if you know how to put up anything in your home, you're qualified to save lives by installing free smoke alarms in your community. Go to soundthealarm.org to find a volunteer event near you.
Welcome back. WMATA is proposing new extended Metro hours that would cost millions of dollars. The extension would keep Metro running until 2 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. Currently, service ends at 1 on Fridays. It would also have Metro open an hour earlier all weekend, starting at 6 a.m. The proposal says the new hours would better align with riders' needs and regional demand, and provide access to more destinations on the weekends, including the airports. According to the proposal, the extended hours would cost Metro around $6 million. And Christmas arrived early this morning in Landover Hills thanks to the Prince George's County Police Department and other partnering agencies. With lights flashing and sirens blaring, Shop with a Cop rolled into the parking lot of a Walmart on Annapolis Road. Dozens of happy children who were paired with uniformed police officers streamed into the store where they were able to shop for gifts for others and themselves.
I'm thinking if I can find a dirt bike, but I want to see if that costs the right money for it. I'm looking a drone for me, and I'm gonna buy something for me, and I'm gonna buy Dunkin' Donuts for him and coffee. For sure.
Today is our 11th anniversary of Shop with the Cop. We're going to continue to spread the joy and happiness to every kid that's in need in our division. Shop with the Cop was designed to give kids that are in need the opportunity to buy gifts for themselves and their family members.
Shop with a Cop is a program that aims to foster positive relationships with police and the community.
Well, top officials from Chesapeake Bay states and the federal government gathered in Annapolis Tuesday to reaffirm their commitment to cleaning up the Bay. Maryland Governor Wes Moore, Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin, and Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, along with leaders from 6 states and D.C., met to strengthen their decade-long partnership, despite slower than expected progress. Now, with the upcoming presidential transition adding uncertainty, leaders from both parties emphasized their unwavering dedication to the Bay's restoration. And it's a race against time for one of North America's most iconic insects. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is proposing to list the monarch butterfly as a threatened species under the Endangered Species Act. Now, since the 1980s, monarch populations have plummeted down 80% in the east and a staggering 95% in the west due to habitat loss, insecticides, and climate change. FWS Director Martha Williams says restoring monarch-friendly plants like milkweed could spark recovery, and that includes over 4,300 acres of critical habitat in California. Now, public input on the proposal is open until March 12th of next year. Visit fws.gov/monarch to learn more about that topic or submit comments.
Well, he's scaly, silent, and searching for a home. This week's Pet of the Week is a 3-year-old boa constrictor who's been slithering around the shelter since November 15th, waiting for a name and a forever home.
Animal management says that boas are non-venomous and known for their gentle nature and make great pets for experienced reptile lovers.
If you're interested in owning a snake or any type of reptile, I would definitely recommend that you first Google what type of habitat that they need, that you research their diet and their feeding schedule. This particular snake, it has to eat a diet of live and thawed out mice. So I would definitely recommend researching what size feeding that you have to feed for your particular reptile.
And if you think you're ready to adopt and name this charming constrictor, make sure you call Animal Management at 301-780-7200 and give this snake a home and a name it can hiss with pride.
And now Simon Buggs is here with our Wednesday sports page.
That's right. Simon, what's in the playbook today?
Well, guys, we got some more exciting news from the world of football in store for today. What's going on, everybody? And coming up on today's sports page, a Commanders legend makes a surprise visit to the County Sports and Learning Complex. That story and more in a bit. Stay tuned.
We grew up together. We believed in something bigger than ourselves. The military took me to one side of the world and her to the other. And even though she was always the strong one, when we caught up years later, I found out she had fallen on some hard times. It was her call to make, but doing it together made all the difference.
When I see homeless vets on my route, I always think to myself, we both swore an oath to protect our way of life, to protect our community. With VA's hotline for homeless vets, I can get them connected with help to get them back on their feet again.
VA's round-the-clock hotline can put veterans who are homeless in touch with the resources and support they earned through their military service. You have the power to help a veteran facing homelessness. Go to va.gov/homeless to print your walled cards. For veterans who are homeless or on the brink of homelessness, call 877-424-3838.
All right, everyone, are you ready? Because it's finally time for your Wednesday sports page. We begin with some football news as the Prince George's County Sports and Learning Complex was promoting a USAA military family football clinic earlier today. And during the event, an expected guest and former NFL player and Commanders quarterback Robert Griffin III stopped by. Griffin signed autographs and took pictures with the attendees of the event. I caught up with the former Heisman Trophy winner during this exciting time and asked what made him want to drop by.
I mean, I think first and foremost, it's USAA doing a great job in the community. Well, this is my community, right? This community changed my life, being here in D.C., being in the DMV area. So when they've changed my life, I think it's only right that I come in and try to help change lives as well. And the second thing is it's a military. I'm a military brat, grew up in this community as well, and it's a special community to be in. And these kids need to know that they're not forgotten. They need to enjoy the benefits of the sacrifices that their family make on the day in, day out basis to keep us free. So I thought it was only right to come back here with the backdrop of the stadium, Northwest Stadium, and have some fun, because who doesn't love football?
And sticking with news from the gridiron, America's game will be taking place this weekend as the Army and Navy football squads will face off against each other at Northwest Stadium. Now, the Army has had success against the Navy recently, as the Black Knights have won 6 out of the last 8 games against the midshipmen. But regardless, it will be a challenge come Saturday to come out on top, as playing against a rival is always difficult. And Army head coach Jeff Monken gave his thoughts on what makes the Navy so tough to play against.
They're well coached, they're talented. They played really well on defense, and Coach Newberry is such a great defensive coach, and his influence on that defense and the job that they're doing, very difficult to execute against, and they give everybody problems. Offensively, Coach Cronick's done a terrific job installing his offense, and I've watched him for a long time, and just really impressed with the job that he's done and how the players have been able to learn it and execute it.
Kickoff is at 3 o'clock. Meanwhile, in the world of college hoops, freshman center Derek Queen has wasted no time, showing why he was a top-ranked prospect coming into his first collegiate season. And Queen's great play so far this season has earned him his second Big Ten Freshman of the Week award. This comes after the Baltimore native averaged 22 points and 12 boards in the opening week of Big Ten play last week. Queen scored 26 points against Purdue, which were the most by a Terp freshman in a true road game since the '97 season. He also currently leads Maryland in scoring with almost 18 points per game. Queen and the rest of the team will take the court next versus St. Francis on December 17th. And finally, some disappointing news from the Washington Commanders. It was announced today that wide receiver Noah Brown will likely miss the rest of the season due to an internal injury he suffered in the team's Week 13 matchup against the Tennessee Titans. Brown has played solid for Washington this season, ranking second among receivers in receptions with 35 for 453 yards. He also ranked second on the team in yards per catch with 13.
All right, thank you, Simon.
No problem.
How much do you think the team's going to be affected by his absence?
Definitely going to be affected a good amount, guys, because we lose some depth at that wide receiver position. He's played well. Like I said, he led the team. He's second in the league in catches behind Terry McLaurin. But, as they say, the show must go on. Now it's up to guys like Luke McCaffrey, Olamide Zaccheaus to really step up and help this team make a playoff push. So we'll see what happens. It's definitely disappointing given how, we're so amped up to finally make the playoffs for the first time in a couple of years. I definitely saw him playing a big part in that, but hopefully he can come back before the season, come back sometime during the season. But it definitely sucks, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully those guys, I say, can step up.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Simon.
No problem.
Now let's take a look at our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight, rain is expected until about 7 p.m. Tomorrow, it's going to be sunny with a high of 41. Friday, we get another sunny day. We have a high of 41 and low of 28. Saturday will be mostly sunny with a high of 45, but showers are expected later that night.
And for our community calendar, do you or someone you know need free in-person assistance getting enrolled in healthcare coverage? Well, this Friday, Maryland Health Connection is hosting an enrollment event at the New Carrollton Library. This event is from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., but for more information, contact 240-455-5451.
And that wraps up CTV News for now. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.